This is Joel from MaravillaNayarit.com. Bienvenidos a nuestro canal and bienvenidos to another video. Not here in Buenos. This video is in Oaxaca when we're visiting the pyramids at Monte Albán. Anyways, I for some reason did not shoot an intro for that video, so I'm doing it right now. I'm just going to introduce you to our wonderful tour guide, Alberto, and I'm going to put his contact in the information below. So if you're ever in Oaxaca, this is one of the must things that you need to do is visit the pyramids and connect yourself with Alberto. He was an amazing tour guide. We learned so much. Now this video is pretty long, so you're gonna have to maybe you can watch a little bit of it now, with a little bit of it later, but it is well worth watching the entire video because you get to basically join us on this entire tour of Monte Albán. So you ready? You ready? Listo? Listo para seguirnos? Are you ready to follow us on this wonderful journey? All right, everybody, enjoy.
Okay, my name is Adalberto Lopez. I'm from Oaxaca City.
Okay.
And I'm a tour guide since 1989.
1989. So if someone wants to come to visit Monte Albán, Adalberto is your man, yeah? Because you know it all.
Yeah.
You were born here, and you've been a tour guide for how many years?
For right now, over 3 years, since 1989.
Wow.
1989. Yeah.
1989. Put that in perspective.
Yeah. Well, in these two models, we are going to see here on the left, in this first model, the three mountains where this archaeological site now is located. We got a big mountain, which is this one here on the left. This is the Jaguar Mountain.
Okay.
Jaguar?
Okay.
Jaguar?
Jaguar in Spanish. Then we've got a tiny mountain, very tiny. That one is named the Rooster.
Okay.
You know, El Gallo.
El
Gallo?
We don't know why exactly. The reason someone gave that name, but well, the point is the name of the mountain is El Gallo.
El Gallo.
Finally, Atzompa. Atzompa is a Nahuatl word, a Nahuatl name that will be in any kind of relation where the spring water is. Okay? Atzompa, then El Gallo, and finally the Jaguar Mountain.
Cool.
Is where the Jaguar Mountain where we are right now.
And how many meters above sea level are we right now?
We are nearly 2,000
Almost 2,000.
meters.
Wow.
So we came from 1,555, 1,555, and we climbed to 2,000 meters. So one of the things we do in Buenos is I have a tour company. We do tours of bicycle tours. So this would be a beautiful climb on the bike. Do a lot of cyclists come up here on Sundays?
Not really.
Really?
Not really.
That's crazy.
They are mainly on the weekends when we find some people.
Yeah.
In the morning, during the early morning, there are specific local bikers coming up here.
Because it's a great place to train. It's a good climb. 2,000 meters.
But maybe it's just because it's not long enough.
That's pretty, honey.
But where you go from here, right?
It's pretty, for training, it's good. That's a nice climb.
Okay, Monte Albán is an archaeological site, very large. Has an area of 20 square kilometers. I mean,
that's big.
5,000 square acres. It's big enough. And the Plaza, which is the heart of this ancient city, is sitting up here
on the top.
On the top of the main mountain. Okay, that surface you can see now flat, so flat. Is a handmade work by locals.
So they did it all by hand. We think. Maybe they had technology, but we don't know.
Well, in fact, it's important to tell you, they have their own technology, but it's not a high-tech today we are using now with computers and whatever these kind of devices. No, they have their own technology. For example, they knew perfectly about physics, how the physics works, for example. In any point, they knew how to drill a stone. Then in that hole, they fit in a wedge, a wooden wedge. Then pouring water in, and finally, by expansion, you can get a crack. That's technology. Somehow, when you are drilling, when you are using that
Interesting. That's
wooden
right.
wedge. Well, they knew how to do it.
Right.
The point is, once again, it's not a high tech.
Right.
No, they don't handle any device with these computers how are working,
Right.
but they knew how to do the different
do it.
tasks. The point is, first of all, we have to understand all of these works, all of these tasks, they were done for several generations and over many centuries. In the case of Monte Albán, it's known that the beginning of the city, according to the academics, started around 500 years before Christ. Over 1,000 years they live here. In those over 1,000 years, they made a city fitting on these three mountains, where the heart of the city is up here, being a cluster of buildings like the following here on the right. In this next model, you see how now the plaza looks.
Yes.
Immediately after being working here, archaeologists, they have discovered, they have redone the structure you can see now.
Yes.
But originally, before they came to work up here, they found everything perfectly buried.
Yes.
You know, still now we got a big area where to find more buildings is still untouched. You know, and we're going to find, for example, pyramids. In that typical type of, like this, tiny mounds, bigger mounds, they look in that way because they haven't been touched.
Sure.
Immediately after, and over the years later, when they have been touched and discovered, now how they look, you know? So that's why I would like to tell you that about 100% area of Monte Albán, no more than 1/3 of the city has been explored.
Right.
Only
Has
one
been
third.
Only 1/3.
One has been discovered,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
we would
yeah.
say. The last works, they took place in this mountain from 2006 to 2012.
Wow.
In those 6 years, they were working here, discovering the remains of one of those local neighborhoods.
Right.
The people in this town, they live, as in current times we still live, in different suburbs around where the government, where the power is, you know? And due to this is the heart of the city, not all the people live immediately close to
Right.
it. They live spread over these three mountains,
Right.
and this is one of the latest spots explored by archaeologists
Cool.
in the 2000s. And it's a late neighborhood because archaeologists say that probably the foundation of that neighborhood is going to be around 500 AD, you know? Finally, it's known Monte Albán is abandoned over the 800 years AD. The people moved away. Probably this event didn't happen from one day to another. I mean, suddenly. Took longer, probably over 100 years. We don't know exactly. The point is, when the Spanish arrived in Mexico, they didn't find anyone living here. When they're coming from Mexico City, just 3 months later, they had conquered Mexico City. They're arriving in Oaxaca Valley. When they turned around, we would say, you know, they just saw these three mountains. But they didn't find anyone living here.
Right.
The Zapotec, the local ones in that moment, they were still living down below in the valley, in different older towns, villages, spread over that area, but no one anymore living here, you know? That's why they discovered they are going to be done many centuries later, and mainly in the 20th century, by Mexican archaeologists, which started. And the first works, they took place from 1901 to 1902 by Leopoldo Batres, who was a well-known archaeologist at the time when Porfirio Diaz, Oaxaca president, was ruling Mexico. And then the main works, they took place in 1930s, 1940s by Alfonso Caso.
Alfonso Cas.
Alfonso Caso, we got now a monument in memory of Alfonso Caso. Is that one over there?
Okay, I was going to say,
You'll
who's
find
that guy? I was looking at him earlier.
Okay.
That's Alfonso.
A foothill. But
Mountains in the middle of the valleys, they were chosen.
right.
Why is one of the questions. Probably one of those main reasons is being here exactly in the middle, they had chance to control everything all around.
You can see.
Exactly, they had chance to see any movement happening down below.
Right.
I mean, defensive reasons, protection are going to be two of those reasons. And probably we will have to add a third one. Why not? Any kind of religious reason. Probably why not? We would think about any kind of holy mountain here.
Yeah.
And like a holy mountain,
Yeah, for
You know?
sure.
it's where to feel they're closer to the gods,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
directly under protection of them.
Of course.
And with these characteristics, there's no any other spot so good, so yeah, more good, better than this. That here where we are, you know. That's why I can see everything all around.
It's like a valley all the way around.
All the way around,
Yeah.
and far away mountains,
Yeah.
sierras,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
In other words, flying over this side and the area around, we would see Monte Albán like an island,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
the sea
Yeah.
is formed by valleys around. And
Yes.
finally, far away, mountains.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really easy
Yeah.
walking at the time
Yeah.
to get into the valley. They have
And if
to
someone was
work.
coming to attack, you could see them 365 degrees, yeah?
Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
Teotihuacan is one of those typical classical cities. Monte Albán as well.
As well. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Teotihuacan, Monte Albán, Palenque, Amayan City, Tikal, Guatemala, Copán, Honduras. We will fit all of them in the classic period. The Middle American classic period goes from 200 or 300 years AD, that depending on the archaeologists. We would say 300 years AD to 900 AD.
Okay.
That's the classic period. When you find any site in that time, means that's a classical site. If we move earlier, we'll find the pre-classic sites.
Right.
The point is, Monte Albán started in the pre-classic period
Okay.
because it started 500 years BC.
Okay.
And whatever story you read, whatever monument you find, which says that was built before 200
Right.
years AD, means it's a pre-classic
Pre-classic. Okay.
building, pre-classic city, pre-classic monument, okay? Because the pre-classic period goes from 2500 years BC to 200 or 300 AD,
80. Okay.
okay? Monte Albán started in the pre-classic period, lasting till the classic period. Afterwards, 900 years AD is known. Monte Albán is abandoned, nobody living here, and other later stories are about to be written,
Yeah.
you know, down below. The Aztecs, by the way, they never knew anything about the site
No.
because the Aztecs, they are very late.
Yeah.
How so late? When Mexico City is founded, this is happening in the 1300s. 1325 years AD is the Mexico City's foundation in that island, in the middle of a lake.
Yes. Yes.
1325 years AD. Oh, it's very late. Nothing compared to
It's a
Monte
baby.
Albán.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why when the Aztecs, they were trying to control, they were trying to conquer all of these areas around, they never said anything. They never mentioned anything about the site because for them was unknown because everything here was buried.
Buried. Yeah.
But down below there were some sites
Yes.
which had been mentioned by them in that moment in the mainly 1400s and the early 1500s. You know, when the Spanish arrived finally after conquering Mexico City, they never saw Monte Albán as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, this is the plaza, but let's move up there because
cool.
that view is the
It's huge.
best. Yeah, it is. Okay.
So the pebbles we see are new or newer.
You can see here,
So-
most of this step has been redone.
Reconstruct, but the original rock is there, and the pebbles
exactly.
helping keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there are some parts where you don't see pebbles.
Okay.
Those parts means
yeah.
that's the real wall just being restored somehow, preserved in
Right.
any way, you know?
Okay. Cool. All
Okay,
right,
let's climb.
Get your exit. You're gonna get your steps in today, Jillian. 10,000 steps, 20,000.
Look at this.
Yeah. Maravilloso. Una maravilla.
See, this is one of those pre-Spanish marvels of Mexico, you know? Monte Albán is one of those a few cities pre-Hispanic cities built over mountains, because most of the cities in the pre-Columbian times, they are fitting over valleys. No matter that in any point, jungle, for example, in the area where Central America is, has been removed by the Maya, for example,
Right.
to build their own cities. Let's be closer. When you see this, we're really sure they had to create, first of all, an idea, you know, afterwards, a plan,
Yes.
and finally, they have to do whatever they have to get this, no matter the time.
That's right.
The beginning, about in any point, probably 500 BC, how archaeologists explain us, okay? Till 800 AD. For over 1,000 years, the people living here, they are going to be creating all of this. In any point, according to the academics, Monte Albán is reaching its peak,
Yes.
the golden age.
Right.
When? Probably when the city was 1,000 years old. In that moment, you know, we're talking about the 500s, and everything here looks from bottom to tip plaster.
Yeah.
We didn't see in that moment any
Stone.
stone wall.
No. It's all
Walls, they look smooth,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
perfectly plastered, you know? Then they also look, originally at the time, colored. I mean, painted.
Right.
Okay.
Mainly red.
Mainly red.
Probably there will be some other color, but it is known that the main color in this type of Middle city is going to be the red one over some others, okay? And the building, they look taller. Remember that. Because now we see, we have chance to see mainly the foundations,
Right.
you know?
And on top were the
Temples
temples or the
or offices.
Now, and how many, at the peak, how many people would be hanging around here, living here, spending the day?
Exactly. According to the experts and the official datum says that easily 35,000 people. Because remember, this is not the point where the people live.
Right.
This is not the point where the dwellings. No, this is the plaza, this is the Zócalo,
Yes.
this is the main square. This construction has a huge base, and the base is not where we are. This is a tiny one
Yeah.
we have climbed. The big one is that one I have shown you a few minutes ago in that corner
Right.
at the beginning.
Yes.
And that corner is across over there. And if we follow the wall, goes all over in this point here. And being a huge, massive foundation, being on top wide enough where to build a cluster of different smaller buildings, including private interior courtyards, like this.
Okay.
Okay? By the way, this one here has an altar in the middle. What that means? That's a spot where rituals took place. But of course, just by a private group.
Right.
Apart from the plaza. It's not the common people
Right.
doing ritual here. It's only a particular selected group of noble ones. For the common people, the plaza is the best spot. That's why the plaza is bigger. You have chance to see and feel that plaza
Okay.
when we get there,
Okay.
and you will feel the difference
Really different.
being here or being down below. Okay,
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
the
So
real one. This
that's right.
is original plaza is still working.
So that's how they knew that the facade was plastered,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still see some remnants of the color, the dye.
Yeah. Let's see the tiny steps.
Mm-hmm.
When you see those tiny steps, are not real steps.
Right.
Okay.
Because immediately in your mind, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what size of feet?
Yeah.
And the point is, they never were dwarfs.
It was
We
just the
were
plaster,
short,
yeah.
and never dwarfs. Okay.
Yes.
What that means? That's a small way how to plaster those linear walls.
Yes.
You know, and making those steps, they have a surface much better to retaining
Yes.
the plaster put
Plaster,
on.
yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
And that way it works, okay? Buildings, they have ornaments. They have probably any symbols telling stories. Sometimes, most of the cases, they're gone inside. Just a little bit still survive, no matter over 1,000 years of being abandoned. Let's turn around over here and let me show you a geometrical design over here. This is similar than this, like an upside down teeth. You know, they used to be fitting from here to the opposite point. Okay. If you see them carefully, so we got here a positive, and this one here is a negative.
Okay, yeah.
You know, in the
Yes.
opposite direction.
Okay.
So imagine this point in that way made, plastered and painted, having probably a background white. Meanwhile, this red painted, or vice versa. the opposite.
Right.
So imagine how it look this.
Right.
If we add these kind of frames, double, so that will be an effect of light and shadow. You know, thanks to the sunlight.
Right.
I mean, light and shadow over the faces, over the facades, means movement.
Yeah.
You know, along the day and along the year, the facades of the building, they have their own movement thanks to the light and shadow. Here, for example, we have a cover.
A what?
A cover.
A cover.
Oh, okay.
If we lift this cover, we'll find a deep opening by archaeologists to explore.
Right.
Understanding that directly under where we are, we got another building now below.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another one on top of it.
Okay.
Okay. But this time of covers, well, had been put by archaeologists
Right.
due to they had made those openings. Okay.
Right.
Originally, these structures, remember, they are very solid structures, exceptionally hollow, but I would say less than 1% of them.
Right.
But well, it's a cat.
Yes.
I mean,
So that's a cat?
jaguar.
Kitty cat.
exactly. The head is missing.
Yeah.
That's the point. We don't know what happened. Well, we can still see the remains of the body.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the paws,
Yeah.
look at the belly, a little bit of the tail,
Yeah.
and look at a little bit of color still. Okay. When after they are exploring, digging, statues of jaguars,
Okay.
terracotta made, like this size,
Okay.
the biggest, or tiny one, the smallest. And the jaguar will be seen mainly in a sitting position. Having found some of these statues were colored as well. You know, some of them have been found like offerings. This is one of the local patrons.
Okay. Gracias.
And the point is, if they practice rituals, it's known that there will be specific local gods, deities, being one of those the jaguar, another one the rain god, called goddess, the gods of the dead,
Thank you, Plaza.
the gods of the dead, Pokibisilao, Shunashikekuya, the couple of the dead, and some others. And the rituals, they have chance to be represented, taking place in a spot like this, in a private way, or down below in the plaza in a public way.
Okay.
About specifically how those rituals happen step by step, nobody knows.
Okay.
Remains about any kind of human sacrifices, nobody knows,
Nobody knows
because
for
there's
sure.
no evidence found.
Right. Right. Exactly.
This is the point. In Monte Albán, we still suppose about human sacrifices.
But
No
don't
matter
know for sure.
exactly, that's the point. Meanwhile, there are sites, others, where to find that,
Right. Yeah.
where to find a clear evidence of it.
Mhm.
Okay. It's also known that they practice animal sacrifices as well, because having found the remains left in some altars, animal bones,
Right.
you know, and it's supposed that those animals were sacrificed.
Sacrifice.
Which, what will be the main animal sacrifice in any point? Have been found bones of turkey,
Okay.
rabbits,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Yeah.
jackrabbits,
Jackrabbit.
you know, probably any other animals, but these are the main animals handled by them. Okay, For rituals.
Because there wouldn't have been, like, the Spanish would have brought, like, goats and lambs, and that
They-
didn't exist here. But there was deer here.
deer, exactly.
Yeah.
deer, well, mainly small animals, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest animal will be the deer
Yeah.
and jaguar in the case of cats,
Yeah.
you know. But not real, we don't have any cattle,
Mm-hmm.
you know. We don't have any poultry
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
you know. The hens, they were brought by the Spanish,
Right.
you know. And the main bird domesticated is the turkey.
The turkey.
You know, that's why it's still for us in Mexico. We name it, you know about that.
Yes.
Guajolote.
Guajolote.
Guajolote is the Mexican word,
Okay.
which the original name is Nahuatl, and the word is Huaxolotl.
Waxolotl.
Huaxolotl.
Waxolotl.
From Huaxolotl, now finally we got Guajolote.
Guajolote.
Guajolote. Also in Spanish is named as Turkey, pavo.
Pavo. Yeah.
Pavo.
I mean, that's,
Okay?
That's what we know, right?
Yeah,
Pavo.
exactly. But in Mexico, when you get in your hands any menu, mainly Oaxaca, which says guajolote meat,
Guajolote?
means that.
Okay.
Turkey meat, pavo meat.
I think I think I have some trivia
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
for our video.
Look at the stone monument
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
And
That's
that's
some-
original.
That's a copy,
Oh, copy.
fiberglass,
Okay.
just placed there in 1990s. Because the real one was found just in 1992.
Okay.
Was found fallen
Okay.
underneath.
So they've put it back together like, in a copy. Yeah.
The real stone was taken to the museum. It's shown
Okay.
now right now in the
Okay.
museum.
Okay.
The real one is there. In fact, we got a sketch about the story. You can see now by carvings there.
Okay.
That is shown in the museum. What's the point? The point about that story, let us know about a local, probably the only woman in this town ruling
Okay.
in this city. The story I'm talking to you is like this.
Okay. So the story's on the
This
stone.
is
yeah.
the sketch about the story out there by carvings. Here there's a mistake
Okay.
because the direction is different. The woman here sitting must be here and the jaguar on the right. There's a terrible mistake here, but well, it doesn't matter. The point here, let's see the lady in a sitting position worshiping to a jaguar. Look at the jaguar again in the sitting position.
Yes.
And both they are sitting in this hieroglyphic, which means the holy mountain. I mean this town. In the story, the lady is worshiping to the jaguar, is celebrating an important ritual. That's why the memory of.
Right.
And here at the bottom, let's see her parents. Explaining that he was a noble woman.
Right.
You know,
Okay,
come
yes.
from a noble couple family. On the top, this kind of mouth will be an stylized jaguar mouth. Sometimes people say alligator mouth, which means the entrance to the underworld. You know,
Okay.
you know.
Right.
Probably it's a story about ritual when the woman passed away.
Mm.
You know, and this is a little bit of some typical stories in any moment shown, placed in these kind of monuments. This story here is late.
Okay.
According to the expert, probably the story is talking about 700 AD.
Okay.
You know, meanwhile there are stories older.
Older.
We got the stories from 500s, 400 BC,
Okay.
and from 500 to 800s. Okay, this is the main local ball court.
Okay.
Now the only one. Why is the main one? Because it's the only one fitting in the northeast corner of this plaza.
Mm.
There's no any other one.
Right.
The others 5 are spread all over around, not
Okay.
here.
Okay.
And no matter being the main one, it's not the biggest. Has a small size.
Mm-hmm.
What that means? It's just for the elite class.
Yes.
This selected group of people, they will be the only ones watching the ball game. Where? In a comfy way, we would say in a sitting position,
Mm-hmm.
under a shade
Right.
formed by a timber roof
Yeah.
and a stone foundation. Only now here will be another one across, left and right. I mean, those type of boxes. Okay?
Yeah.
Box seats. Yeah.
And what kind, like lawn bowling?
No. Let's see. Wherever you go and when someone talk to you about any ball game, first of all, we have to know that the ball game played by them is played mainly with a bouncing ball.
Okay.
This is never a stone made, never.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Rubbermaid. It's a bouncing ball because they get to the point to discover the way how to vulcanize it. They vulcanize the rubber. Finally, they could get those bouncy balls. How big those balls are? Like this, 1-2 kilos, the heaviest. And the ball game is not soccer, it's not baseball, soccer. Will be in my own. The way I have to explain it is a type of tennis. But the point is, in tennis you use a racket. Then in the middle a net. They never use in the middle a net. They never use a racket. They just having a protection where the hip is, knees, elbows, forearms. Perfectly guarded.
Yes.
They are going to take a ball in their hands. Are going to go where the central point is. That round stone is into the ground. Are going to bounce the ball off on it. In the beginning of the ball game, someone of the ball players is going to strike the ball with the hip. The ball goes forward, back and forth, back and forth.
Okay.
Two teams playing each other. Two teams, 2 ball players. The point is, depending how big the ball court is, will be the amount of ball players.
Okay.
Here, trying to keeping the ball in motion, how to score. When someone of those teams of ball players didn't strike the ball back to the opposite.
Gotcha.
That will be how the opposing team score.
Like volleyball and tennis.
Yeah.
Here, we don't find any stone hoop fitting in the side leaning walls. Why I'm talking to you about that? Because if you go to some other archaeological sites, probably you'll find in any other ball court stone rings, stone hoops, like goals. That version using stone hoops is late. It's not so old like this. Mainly, and according to some academics, probably that tradition of using stone hoops born around the 700 or 800 AD.
Okay.
Not earlier. Monte Albán is much earlier. That's why at the time when Monte Albán City, they never used any type of hoop. Okay.
So what do we know about these steps up here?
Well, basically here we got the second biggest structure inside, fitting opposite to the first one across in the north.
Okay.
This is the southern platform.
And they're like directly opposite, like they're perfectly
opposite.
centered and
Exactly.
yeah.
This building is interesting because up there has a small courtyard, another altar in the middle, and 2 remains of 2 pyramids or platforms, which we suppose they were crowned by temples. This structure, with this another one, and some other ones across in the opposite side, they have stories on the walls about the power of Monte Albán over their enemies.
Okay.
I mean, stories about victories, explaining in these depictions what did they do over the enemies, and basically those stories let us know about towns with names being conquered.
Okay.
The stories, depending on the time and depending on the building, change. For example, in this other platform, the stories fitting in the corners let us know about people in profile standing, but they are perfectly dressed in elegant way, telling us they were important people, mighty in any moment, but they were depicted or portrayed like prisoners because the arms, you see them on the back and thigh.
Okay.
And at the bottom, a hieroglyphic place, which means the place conquered, where they came from.
Right. Okay.
Being the leaders conquered in that moment. If they were shown fitting in the corners of this monument, means, well, Monte Albán conquered those guys in those towns. And celebrated those stories over here.
Right. And said, hey, look what we did.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this building over here, the only one set in angle, different than any other, is supposed to work as a observatory building.
Okay.
Because this building is the only one having a shape like an arrowhead point. Look at this sketch, which is not good enough.
I see, yes.
So let's see it. The building looks like an arrowhead point shape. And the building has a point pointing to the opposite corner, southwest. Meanwhile, the front is facing toward over here where this building is, the building with the chamber.
This is the front. The front's facing this way.
That was the stairs. Where is the star? What's the North Star.
The North,
Mhm.
yes. Yeah.
But this is magnetic north to a T, right?
Mm.
And it's just they knew what they were doing.
I knew what they were doing.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode. This is the travel series with at maravillanairit.com. You can find me at Boosterius Joel. And make sure to slam that like button, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you follow us. Hey, Jill?
Yeah.
You gotta follow us.
Gotta
But
follow.
thanks very much to our wonderful guide here.
It's been
I gotta say,
amazing.
muchas gracias. Y
Un
mucho
placer.
gusto. And we're gonna put his link in the description. And if people want to book you in advance, they can do that.
Yeah.
You can maybe share your WhatsApp with me.
Yeah.
And I suggest the private tour because you have more of his time. And just have a nice lazy morning checking out Monte Albán. It's a magnificent place. We will be back because I feel we need to give it a few more hours.
Yes,
Wouldn't you agree,
absolutely.
Jill?
Yes.
All right, on that note, everybody, nos vemos hasta luego and adiós desde Monte Albán, aquí en Oaxaca, México.